Hello everyone, and welcome back to where I play Final Fantasy IV, and we're just going to be picking up all of the treasure that I haven't gotten since last time. Of course, quite a bit of that treasure is guarded by bosses, but we're used to that kind of thing by now. Makes me wonder what the cabins are made out of down here. Probably crystal, just like most everything else that's good. The trash encounters are still pretty trash, especially with our new equipment. But they can still hit pretty hard on occasion. Say, what's over here? There is nothing threatening about this monster in a box anymore. Our characters have decent defense, even edge. So there's really not much to worry about with our higher stats and better weapons and all that. See what I mean? Edge still needs a boost, but we'll be taking care of that. Yeah, because I've pumped Rydia's casting so high with my equipment choices, Meteo is basically obsolete. And the Heroine Clothes, which is actually a recurring piece of armor in the Final Fantasy series called the Minerva Bustier. However, that equipment is actually useless to me in this version of the game, because it cuts down casting stats, but increases physical stats, which would be an okay exchange if it weren't for the fact that there are no warrior characters that can equip it. Because all of the female characters in Final Fantasy IV are pure casters. Pelom, Rosa, Rydia, all of the playables. Okay, the boss that's guarding the Lance of White, you know, the Holy Lance, is Plague. It casts a fatal countdown as soon as you start the battle, so you'd better be quick about this. I should have still equipped the Moonring Blade because it is weak to arrows and other ranged things and spears, but Rosa can do a lot more damage with Holy than she can with arrows, and speed is of the essence. Occasionally it'll try to cast haste to speed up the countdown, but we blew it up no problem. 3 seconds to spare. No big deal. Okay, the Holy Lance is Kain's ultimate weapon. It is a holy element spear, which decreases his defense for some reason. I think it doesn't replace some of the stat boosts. And it can cast Holy when used as an item, which is useless in the hands of No Magic Kain. Next boss is the Lunar Dragons. They don't punch very hard, but they have some very nasty abilities. They cast Wall on themselves, so summons are the only reasonable attack to use. And I try to berserk, forgetting that the crystal armor prevents berserking. Also, their virus spells are quite strong. So, the crystal armor prevents one of my favorite boss tactics in this game, but I think there's a way around that too. Now, the thing about the Lunar Dragons is that whenever you actually manage to hit them with magic, they cast Remedy on themselves and heal themselves for about 10% of their maximum hit points. That's the actual effect of Remedy. It's a percentage-based healing spell. We saw it in action earlier when it healed the CPU unit for 2,000 hit points out of 20,000. The Lunar Dragons have really high magic attack, so well, Virus is not something to scoff at even at this stage in the game. When one of them is left occasionally, it will cast Fire, which does mediocre damage to your entire party. Nothing to worry too much about unless you've already been worn down by Virus. For your troubles, however, you get 2 ribbons. The ultimate head armor for your casters, and Ribbon not only prevents all status ailments, in the easy type version, it absorbs fire, lightning, and ice damage. Which is one of the ways you can tell that easy type and Final Fantasy for US are in fact different, because they don't provide elemental absorption here. Stupid dragons, always getting in my way. Psych, not gonna fight him. Okay, Cure Up, with the most efficient of healing spells, outside of battle anyway. I still don't know why things turned out that way. I guess they figured, does the game have Crash to black? No? Then ship it. Okay. So, red dragons are around here. In this segment of the Lunar Underground, there are no encounters that you can run from normally. It's all mini-boss enemies like red dragons, behemoths, and other things besides. Now, I'm showing off this battle because in these battles, the red dragon actually uses an attack that it didn't use in my previous encounters with them. In this playthrough, anyway. Need healing. Yep, the Heat Ray, which is actually nasty because it is a physical attack. And Rosa already has all of her possible spells. We're not going to need to grind her anymore for any more. Okay, the Evil Mask. casts Wall on itself? Casts reflect on your entire party. So the only way to hit it with magic is to bounce magic off of yourself. Shouldn't be that much of a problem. Or you could just cast Bahamut all the time. It's good to do it quickly though, because it casts pretty much all of the highest level spells. Flare, Holy. If it's nasty, it's gonna hit you with it. And down it goes. Yeah, the thing about Final Fantasy IV, it's that it was actually the first Final Fantasy game where you didn't have to buy spells. And here we go, it's another one of these sorts of things. This Blade of Black. Well, I guess I can work with that translation. Okay, Ogopogo. Starting off strong. Well, if you think that's a nasty opening, that's a love tap compared to what else we're going to have to deal with down here. The thing about Ogopogo, despite being a water creature that uses water attacks, it is not actually weak to lightning. It has about as many hit points as a Leviathan, but none of its elemental weaknesses. Plus it has stronger attacks. In fact, it has no elemental weaknesses at all. So Bahamut is the strongest choice we have. Now just cure up after that nasty little start, and hit him with absolutely everything we have. Basically, the idea is to nail him before he gets off another big wave, because I don't know exactly how that attack's damage works. Hello, Masamune! Yeah, the thing is, the Excalibur was only ever the strongest sword in Final Fantasy I. Pretty much every game after that had a sword that was stronger than it for fighting characters. In Final Fantasy II, it was the Muramasa. I forget what it was in Final Fantasy III, but in every game after Final Fantasy I, the Excalibur was never the strongest sword. With the exception of Final Fantasy IX's Excalibur II, but that requires some doing to get, as in speedrun doing. And speaking of swords stronger than the Excalibur, that's the one we're going to be getting next. And you know what? I don't need to restore there. I know how this area works. Might as well blow up some enemies along the way, though. But still, dropping Cure 1... I have a feeling they replaced something else on the item table to put that in there. Probably one of the attack items or other things that were removed from this version of the game. Oh yeah, you can't run away from Ahriman's either. Maybe I forgot to mention that, maybe I didn't. Yeah, I don't need to fight every blue dragon along the way, though. Some restraint is required. Well, I hope my remaining 8 Phoenix Downs are enough to see me through the end of the game. I could leave anytime I wanted to, but I don't want to. At least not at this point. I did choose to fight this blue dragon, however, and I got one of the game's incredibly rare drops. There are a lot of items down here that you have a lower chance of getting from monsters than the Sword of Kings in Earthbound. And I believe the Dragon Whip is one of them. It's a very powerful whip for Rydia that does extra damage to Dragon-type enemies, and actually increases her physical stats quite substantially. And beating that behemoth gave us the second Protect Ring, which goes to Rydia because of her low hit points. See, there's her stats before the Dragon Whip. Let's get this on there. And these are her stats after the Dragon Whip. I'm pretty sure it might reduce her spellcasting stats, or they're just boosted really high by the rods I equip her with. But Rydia is always going to be primarily a caster. So I'm going to be treating her like one for this playthrough. Goodbye, Mr. Dragon. Oh hey, a save point. By the way, the invisible path you cross to get here is one of the few unmarked secret passages in this game. The only other unmarked secret passages are in the various castles, Baron, Eblon, Damsian, that sort of thing. Now this boss is actually a doozy. We'll see about that, buddy. Meet Dark Bahamut. Meet Dark Bahamut's opening attack. So, yeah, I used to panic about this, but after playing Trails in the Sky second chapter, I'm more used to this kind of opening situation in boss fights. So this boss opens with Mega Flare, and after using Mega Flare, casts Regular Flare continuously. And if you hit it with either a summon or attack magic, I don't know what triggers the counter exactly, it will counter with Mega Flare again, and it will be as strong as it was when you started the fight. Now that nuke failed because it tried to attack Kane. So Rydia can't actually do much without destroying the entire party. I should have equipped Rosa with the Life Staff. I think I might have resisted that flare attack somehow. Oh well, not gonna complain, really. Time to throw stuff at him. Yeah, that'll do the trick. The thing is, though, apart from his other abilities, Dark Bahamut is actually a bit of a glass cannon compared to a lot of the other bosses. It's really getting past the first attack that determines whether or not you'll be able to see the fight through. And if you're gonna do this, you had better be sure he has less than 10,000 hit points. Goodbye, sir. And our reward for this is the Ragnarok Sword. It's called the Crystal Sword here, but it's the first appearance of the Ragnarok. And it is by far the strongest weapon in the game. Not only does it have an incredible attack power, it greatly boosts all physical stats. If you're not equipping it, you're not playing the game right. So I'll just be saving out here. And that's it for this time, and next will be the final video of Final Fantasy IV. See you then!